I won't be singing a song. Just get that out of the way right now. Well done, Carmela. No, what I'll be talking about are the 3 traits that I really admire about Brian as a leader. Closer, better? Is this good? Okay. 3 traits. He's persuasive, he's selfless, and he can turn any situation into a reference to the San Francisco Giants.
Yay!
I don't know how he does it. Have you noticed? It's at conferences, division contests, decums, there's always the guy's obsessed.
Yeah.
I think he might have been secretly waiting all year for some kind of scandal to erupt in the district, just so he could make a Barry Bonds reference. It never happened. But could you imagine? You know, we discover that John Davis has been using performance-enhancing drugs for years, and we have to take away all of his speech contest trophies. It would have been a mess. Thankfully, it never happened, but Brian would have been ready. So he's persuasive, he's selfless. I got to experience the persuasiveness firsthand about a year ago when Brian asked me to be public relations officer. Sandra mentioned that I made him wait it out a week, and I was a little reluctant to take on the role, but Brian did a really good job of convincing me in that first phone conversation when he called me in Texas. He explained that, you know, I could do as much or as little with the position as I wanted to, and that it would be a really great growth opportunity for me. And then the kicker, Brian said, you know, Philip, the public relations officer is really the face of the district. And I can't think of a better person, a young, handsome man like yourself, to be the face of the district. Okay, laid it on a little thick there, Brian. I must have been really desperate to fill that position, but I took it as a compliment. And actually, if you were at the last Decum just a few weeks ago, Brian referenced this. He joked that it was harder for him to convince me to be public relations officer than it was for him to convince Cindy to go out on their first date together. Which is kind of an odd comparison to make. Like, of all the challenges he could have compared this to, those are the 2 things he put together, but it kind of makes sense when you know the whole story, that he was using the same pickup lines on me that he used on Cindy. Oh, she missed it. You'll have to explain it later.
I got an update.
But it worked. I said yes, and it was a testament to Brian's persuasiveness. Which brings me to my final point. Brian is a selfless leader. Now, we started off the year, and I have to admit, I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed as public relations officer. I'd never done public relations before. I wasn't really sure how to get started. And Brian came up to me, and he said, Philip, I'll tell you what, I'll make this real easy for you. I will write our first press release, and you just have to send it out. That way, you get a little experience working with the media, but you don't have to worry about the content or the formatting or any of that. I said, thank you, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I was impressed. I mean, here's a leader who's not afraid to get his hands dirty. You know, he saw that I was struggling, and he put my needs ahead of his own. This was one of the most selfless acts I had seen in a long time. At least that's what I thought. Until I saw the press release that Brian wrote. I have a copy of it here. This is the actual press release. I printed it out so you can all see it. Brian Hatano elected district governor for Toastmasters International with a giant, full-size, high-definition headshot. Not exactly what I would call selfless. Plus, I was confused. I thought I was supposed to be the face of the district. But it worked. We got the article published, and that was really the start of a great year. And all kidding aside, Brian, I had a tremendous year. I really do admire you as a leader. I really look up to you. I loved how you trusted your team to do their job the way they saw fit, and yet you were always there to answer the tough questions when they came up. So thank you for encouraging me to take on this role. It was a tremendous growth year for me. Couldn't have done it without you. Thank you for your leadership, support, and your service to the district.